Okay, this is part two. So I know that the video cut off somewhere at some point, so kind of going backwards a little bit. There's some plastic lawn edging, and I could assume where some of the stuff comes from. It was kind of a dump, but when you think way back, a lot of this area over here was farming, and so they didn't have dumps back then, so you found a place on the farm to dump it or bury it. It's kind of how things were back then, as long as they weren't too harsh on the environment, I guess. I don't really know how much they thought about that back then, but I do know that they were probably better at it than we were. So we have a concrete field here, and this is just the beginning of it, honestly. This is that's just what you see actually from the trail, and that would be a barbecue pit or a campfire pit, basically, from the park. Or maybe that was part of the park here, I don't know. But you look down here, there's just tons and tons of concrete that have been dumped down here. There's literally a debris field of concrete all the way down the hill. And so that stuff was obviously delivered here, obviously deliberately put here. I was looking at this one piece over here, wondering, could it be possibly, because these things do happen around here. I think there's a piece of old farm machinery over here, and I'll be okay if I'm wrong, but I'm going to check it out anyway. So this, I gotta be really careful about rusted metal here. Snakes aren't really a big deal yet, but if you look at this, oh, that's probably a trellis, more so than anything. Okay, yeah. So probably just a trellis. I was thinking maybe that might be a handle for a pull behind plow. But yeah, we've had old steel wheels we found in our park from, I would imagine, probably not the steam era, but possibly 1900s, early mid 1900s maybe. We have found that before, not on this side of the park. Yeah, I got myself in a bundle here. All right, I'm gonna close this out in a minute or two. Just doing some exploring. I'm not gonna ever touch any of that concrete as far as trying to clean it up or move it. That's not even a thought. All right, I need to find my way back to the trail here. I kind of have my bearings. I'm a guy that learned really young, and I'm not like a dolphin or anything like that, but I was taught somewhat to remember which way is north when I'm out hiking and stuff like that. So I always know, in fact, I can tell you where north is at right now from here. So that's one thing I normally do, is just intuitively remember north, and then I can kind of make my way around areas. It's never failed me yet. Here's some more stuff, and I can't figure out what this is. I think it's construction supplies. And these might be like steel, galvanized steel, what I call them now is trusses, for like commercial buildings. Got some of that there. So there was some more construction debris. So I hope this doesn't get censored for me saying this, but one thing I forgot to tell about the trail earlier, the Alicia Trail, which was the bike trail, and I really wouldn't doubt if people did walk it, especially the older adults. One thing I will say is, I'm sure I can't locate it, but there was a spot on the trail that had a half pipe on it. and the name around the neighborhood was called the Nutcracker pipe. I don't even think it was called a pipe yet, but it was just called the Nutcracker because that's kind of what happened if you didn't do it right. Okay, so north, I think I need to go this way a little bit. Actually, I need to go down the hill that way is what I need to do. I can see where I need to go now. I'm so far off of there, but I'll find it. Yeah, I know where to be. Gotta go right through here. So let me try to see if I can't get to the other side of the park before it's too late on my filming and stuff. I think this is the trail again. Nope, this is the dead end of the trail. We need to go up left. Then we'll be all right. We'll be back on the trail. I'm going to try to make it to the other side of the trail in a minute or so. Probably take a little bit longer. But I have a clue where I'm at now again. Go back up to the trail. Most of this stuff is ivy. It is ground cover. And basically will take over the whole forest if you let it. You'll just see tons and tons of vines that strangle these trees out with foliage on top of the trees. So I'm back, yeah, so here we go. We're gonna go to the other side of the park real quickly. So this is basically the other end of the trail right here, coming down to the archery range. And we will peep to make sure that nobody's using it. Of course. Of course, of course, of course. So this is definitely the nicer part of the trail. The fact that there's grass growing around that area, or around this area, you know, a lot of this probably isn't grass. It's probably weeds and stuff, but around this area we call that lawn because trying to fight the weeds, and there's a lot of erosion and a lot of seeds that move, a lot of birds spread seeds around. You can't really get rid of the weeds and just have grass unless you really want to put some time and money and effort to it. Okay, so there's a sign right there. There's a sign right there. A sign right there. I was talking before, I don't know if I got this on the last one, but those are signs that say beware of a shooting area, basically. And then there's a little, like I said, this is the other side of the park, and this is kind of the limit on the other side. Nice little picnic area up in here privately. But, I mean, you have to be careful about, I don't know. It's a public park. Just try to keep it nice and usable for people. So there's a backyard fence right there. And basically that is the end of our, quote, land. There's some barbed wire up there, but there's a time when, like when we built the park, the city was offering us to use this land over here for disc golf, and it really wasn't wanted because it was a lot of work, and the course, the original course got bigger already, like 2 or 3 times bigger already, so the group did not want to take on the more work and maintenance other than like 35 acres. So this would have been 40 or 50 something acres, and the group wasn't really interested in doing it. Lots of thorns in here. A couple sinkholes. Now this is kind of a creek area, not just of this land, but kind of the whole neighborhood, to be honest. The creek is not far down here, and this is like the lowlands. So you can look around, just see trees and trees. This is our park. It goes on for a long, long ways, but it's just something we never used. And hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of it. Just try to get people to walk it. Really, that's all we care about. Do something healthy. Use the land. Keep it nice. Get some traffic flowing through here. It's kind of what we've done on the other side of the park, is create a lot of traffic for people to come to the community. Specifically for disc golf, but they get here somehow, some way. All right, so yeah, that's the archery range. There's 2 targets. One of them's actually knocked over. I tried to pick that up, but it's so heavy I can't do it by myself. But this is what we're surrounded with. There's coyotes all over here. If you hear a siren, which is pretty common around here, there's a fire department not too far away. If you hear a siren, this whole place lights up with coyotes yowling. Whatever noise they do make, howling, I think, but it's kind of weird how this particular stuff right here is really bad. It's kind of, I wouldn't say all over the park, but really thorny, nasty stuff. And that is really a deterrent. You don't want to go anywhere near any of that stuff. So my assumption would be that there's probably animals living in the bottom of that pile, hopefully. That's good protection to have those thorns around. Haven't seen the turkeys lately, but we have about 20 something turkeys that walk around together back here. I'm not sure what they do for the winter, but we have a flock of them out here. We actually have horses for neighbors, so they occasionally get ridden on our course. I think I described pretty much all the other insects and animals that we have going on. So I'm going to sign out. This is our, quote, new part of the park, and hopefully I'll be doing more about it. I might do a video. We've got a cleanup day coming in the park soon, and I might just that day take a volunteer or two and come up and do this trail with my tractor, so we can get this done also at the same time. We'll see. I might even do it before that by myself and just not tell anybody, honestly, because it's fine if I do it and don't tell anybody, because nobody will ever notice that it's actually cleaned up. Or I can go through a bureaucracy of people and say, hey, can I go clean up some trash? Just to pick up a piece of trash has become a process in this park. It's just, I mean, not really. You can pick up trash, but you gotta be careful what you do in the park, public park. It's public land. It's city land owned, so you can't just do anything you want on it. But picking up trash, I will say that's something, one of our assets in our community is somebody's always on the street picking up trash, whether they're walking down the street or whatever. There's a lot of trash to pick up, so that's kind of one of our habits for old people when we walk, especially mornings. We'll clean up the city while everybody's still asleep. Ooh, I found a good sign. So this doesn't go anywhere, obviously, but that's the sign that's all the way around the whole thing. And if you look how old that is, it's probably paint from the 60s or 70s. Actually, hold on, let me think about that. So this land specifically was annexed in 1969 by Ferguson, so I think that this would be probably 70s that this went in here, and I would assume the same for the pavilions and all that stuff. I was around, not really this part of town, but I was around then, but I don't remember exactly when the pavilions went in. I do remember that the park back in the 80s, if you were in high school, a lot of people came out here to drink beer and get out in the open away from adults. So this park was so off the beaten path and you couldn't find anybody back here, so teenagers would come back here and have little parties so that nobody could find them. And I can't say, quote, we were hurting anybody. I was there a couple times, but I just wasn't a partier in general. I might have shown up a couple times, but I didn't even really even drink beer, so it didn't. I would call myself a casual observer more than a participant in all that. Yeah, so here's a good view. What would have been nice is if we had a like a platform or something, one on top of one of these hillsides, like just a level platform, and have a driving range out here and have some targets. That would be pretty cool. I think that would attract some disc golfers. So if this land right here, if we, like I said before, the city kind of, quote, gave us land, not really gave us land, but they gave us the opportunity to build a course, and they offered this land. And like I said, we didn't really want to work on it, but what was going to happen if they decided that we had to take this as part of the deal with the rest of the park, if this was going to be something that we had to do, we probably weren't going to do much more than what's actually here already and make a mini disc golf course around here. Shorter than ours across the street, and that would be like 2 courses on the same park, which is a good thing to have because, well, it's just good for tournaments to have 2 courses in the same area or close by. It helps for tournaments so much, especially bigger tournaments where you have a larger amount of people. You can have one group on one course while another big group is on another course. So that was one thing we were going to do, is we were going to do miniature disc golf, but we decided not to, and smart decision, honestly. In the long run, it wouldn't have done much as far as, it might have attracted more people, but honestly, we didn't need to attract more people. The course pretty much sold itself and became successful organically on its own, so it didn't really need any bells and whistles, to be honest. So honestly, this is the kind of stuff that disc golfers appreciate, is the nature and the natural part of it. They don't like trash, of course, but we'll work on that. I'll definitely, I don't know when or where, but I'll definitely be one of the people who comes out here and picks up this stuff, because just selfishly I have to look at it, right? So I would rather come through here one time with my tractor. I'll pull 2 or 3 trailers along and just load it up with trash. I'll get a poker stick that I can grab stuff out so I don't have to get all thorned up. All right, I'm going to check out this video. I got other stuff to do today. Don't know when the next video will be. The tractors are all in good tip-top shape. I have, I can pull 3 trailers now, because I actually, on the video I did last time, I showed some steel plates with 5 holes in them on the last video, and I was thinking about using them as trailer hitches. I ended up doing that, so I can pull, well, to be honest, I can pull 4 trailers now, but I've only hooked up 3 that I've actually needed at once, so I could pull a train on it as far as 4 trailers go. But yeah, those steel plates I bought, I was at the metal shop and I saw those and I thought that they could work, and I looked at them, I was like, man, that thing, I know those aren't 1/8 inch steel, and I know they aren't 1/4 inch steel, and I know they aren't 3/16 steel, and that's just a visual thing. I'm used to, like, measuring stuff, micrometers and stuff like that, and it turns out this steel things that I got were actually 4 millimeters thick. So I would say the past 10 years or so, it's new to us, but we're really getting a lot of metric bolts, and a lot of stuff that's built in other countries is coming here, and we're starting to see a lot more metric stuff. And that really is recently. I mean, we've been told our whole lives to be ready for the metric system to come here. Kind of hasn't happened, but in the last 10 years or so, we're seeing a lot more metric. So you have to have a caliper that does USS and metric. Tape measure. I have tape measures that do USS and metric now, especially for TV mounts. Yeah, so anyway, I got those on there, and that's good to go. I'm sure I'll do a video some point. I'll probably do a combination of cleaning up this park and having my trailers and tractors out here. So I'm signing out.